Welcome back to the show. Lawmakers, isn't that great? They've returned to Capitol Hill following a week-long recess that many Democrats hoped would be marked by a show of force at the grassroots level against the Trump administration and its agenda. Sometimes it happened, sometimes it didn't. For more on that, I want to bring in our political panel. Hyma, formerly served as director of the Office of the Democratic National Committee Chair, and Lance Trover was a spokesperson for Interior Secretary Doug Burgum's 2024 presidential campaign. Of course, Mr. Burgum now in the administration as Energy Secretary. No, Interior Secretary. He wanted energy, but he got Interior.
But he's running the Energy Council, too.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Busy guy.
So,
yes.
Lance, I'll start with you, because the cabinet meeting today was all about a circular conversation about how great Elon is, how great Doge is, how many efficiencies are being found. This seems to only intensify the role that Elon Musk is playing in this Trump White House and appears to be positioned to do so for as long as he wishes.
I think the president's made it very clear he's not going anywhere. And I mean, you see the support that he's getting out of the White House, and you see his support he's getting out of members of Congress. So, yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. And I think it's an indication to me that long term they see this cutting the federal government as a winning issue for this White House, and I think that's why you're going to continue. Yeah, does Elon Musk care about his approval numbers? No, he does not care about his approval numbers at all. I know that's what the Democrats like to use, and they want to talk about it a lot, but at the end of the day, the buck stops with Donald Trump, and I think they've made a strategic decision that long term, this is to their benefit.
And on the opinions pages of the New York Times this Sunday, several Democrats said, this is what not only Trump campaigned on, that's obvious, but it's what the public wants and is willing to tolerate for a very long time. And Democrats should not, according to those who wrote in the New York Times, be appearing in Washington bureaucracy saying boo-hoo-hoo about fired federal workers. Lance, your perspective.
I'm not here to tell the Democrats what to do, but I mean, we were actually just talking about this offset. I mean, I think, you know, when you're sitting there saying, you know, I'm part of the establishment here in Washington, D.C., let's remember 70-80% of this country does not believe that Washington has been working for them over the course of these last several years. So when they go out and stand in front of these agencies and say, oh, no, don't close it down. Yeah, again, I'm not here to give your party advice, but
I would take advice from you, Lance. But look, hey, Major, I think they're right. I do think that the Elon Musk sort of argument is not a winning issue. Look, John Ossoff, the senator from Georgia, was at a rally in Georgia this weekend. He said, we want government efficiency as well. I don't think we want Elon Musk doing it, but I think Democrats all around the country, senators, governors, mayors, they all want to have more efficient cities and states. I think the issue is right now is Elon Musk is doing this with no plan, no vision. There's no transparency. I think people don't understand what the goal is. And so I think if President Trump said, look, we want to cut the government to a size that's going to be more efficient for your services, you're going to deliver this service better, we're going to deliver this service better, then I think people will be more okay with that. But now it sort of seems like Elon's his boogeyman.
Right. And Lance, whether you know this or not, the fact is 80% of the federal workforce lives outside of Maryland, Virginia, and District of Columbia. That means they're all over the country.
Sure.
And some Republicans, like we've had on the show, are like, wait a minute, I didn't mean Forest Service people in my state or my congressional district. I didn't mean meat inspectors. I didn't mean people who are on the front lines of doing other things, health and safety. Does that ever become a point where Republicans have to say, no, not this?
You've heard it from the administration time and again, and I think it's smart. Look, there are moments where they know they are moving fast, and as Elon has said, they are breaking things.
That's the Silicon Valley cliche.
It is so cliche, but it is true. And when they have had issues where that people have spoken up to the administration, they have went back and reversed some of those decisions. I think that will continue to happen as we move along. But again, I think the White House has made a long-term strategic decision that it is in their best interest over the course to slash this government down.
Yeah, and I think the goal is right. I think the tactics are what people have an issue with. The breaking stuff without a plan.
Hyma, what is the state of Chuck Schumer's hold on his position as Senate Minority Leader from your perspective?
I think the leader has done a lot of good for both the country and the party over the last years.
Already speaking in the past tense.
No, he has, and I think Chuck Schumer should not be worried about his position as leader of the House Democrats. I do not
Senate
believe
Democrats.
That. I'm sorry, Senate Democrats. I don't believe that. So I think what he's got to think about now is what's going to happen back in New York State with his primary. I think there's a real chance.
Far distant primary.
Well, yeah, but I think there's a real chance that AOC does primary him. But in the interim, I think he's going to be fine as the leader. I think he understands that caucus. He understands the Senate better than most people, aside from Mitch McConnell, maybe. So I think he's going to be fine.
So what is the source and output, then, of all this restiveness? If not It's not a majority restiveness in the Senate Democratic caucus, but it's enough people talking about it that I can't stop asking people like you about it.
Well, I think that's good. I think for us to be having these conversations and talking about these democratic values, look, you had Bernie Sanders, AOC had 30, 40, 50,000 people out this weekend. John Ossoff and Senator Warnock had 10, 15,000 people in Georgia. What you're seeing is Democrats are coming back to the table because they are frustrated, not only with our party, they're frustrated with the state of this country. And so I think the excitement, I feel, is seeing Democrats back out on the field.
Hyma, all points well taken. But what are the optics when the Senate Minority Leader, the week that those crowds are forming, in all those other places, has to cancel a book tour because he's afraid of Democrats showing up?
That book tour was already weird. It should never have been scheduled. So I don't think any of us are excited about this. But look, I think this is not a moment of Democrats in disarray. This is a moment of reality for Democrats. There are real issues the way Chuck Schumer approached his vote. And I think that's just a fact. Nancy Pelosi said that she would have asked for something if she had given that vote with her caucus. I think he did a poor job in that. But we're not going to throw out the baby with the bathwater. Chuck Schumer has been a very strong leader for Senate Democrats for a long time. He's gotten some really key legislation passed over the years. And I think Democrats understand that. Democrats are fired up, and they want to make sure that Democrats are opposing Donald Trump, not each other.
Okay, Lance, this is a 2-foot putt for you. Will you just put it away?
About the Democrats?
Yeah.
I mean, look, they've got the lowest favorability rating in 50 or 60 years. They're not even happy.
27 or 29%, depending on the poll.
Yeah, I mean, and they're wanting to throw this guy out because he wanted to keep the government open. I mean, that's the state of their party right now. I mean, far be it from me again to give advice, but look, you can't. And they're hemorrhaging younger voters. So to me, the issue is the message. I mean, for the Democratic Party, it's completely controlled by the left. If it doesn't involve the words abortion or trans or Donald Trump sucks, then they don't want it. And that's the problem I think you guys have, is that you don't have a vision for the future of the country. That's the real issue for the party.
You're going to start seeing Democrats talk about the future more and more every day. So I think that you made a valid point. We recognized that last year in the election, and I think Democrats are starting to move forward.
So, Lance, let me talk to you about the next stage of Republican activity, which is raising the debt ceiling and trying to figure out how to put together a so far unreconciled budget resolution, Senate and House, which is the pathway to get to the tax cuts.
Sure. I had an op-ed in The Hill about this last week. I call Mike Johnson the most underestimated person in Washington, D.C. I don't think he gets nearly the credit he deserves. He continues to produce and he continues to show up. It's no wonder the president wanted to keep him as speaker. He addressed that earlier today. This is a great D.C. parlor game. When one party controls Washington, well, how are they going to work out their differences? How are they continue to do it? I think he and Leader Thune will come together. Will it take longer than maybe the Easter recess? Yeah, it probably will. But when they get to a point and the president leans in, I believe we will have a package.
Leans in on what? Is it just an extension of the Trump tax cuts or the things that he campaigned on in the campaign? No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, all of which are super costly and none of which are currently included in any of the calculations.
I suspect this will be a very comprehensive package. Will everything get included? Well, that's what the next several weeks of working this out are going to look like. But I go back to Mike Johnson's underestimated constantly. I think he and Leader Thune will get together and they will get the president a package he likes.
Hyma, 10 seconds.
Look, I agree with the Mike Johnson sentiment, but look, Donald Trump told the American people a lie when he said that he would not cut Medicaid, not cut Medicare, not cut Social Security. The only way to pay for these tax cuts is to do that. And so I think over the next couple of weeks, Democrats are going to hit hard on just reminding people who Donald Trump is and what he said and what's a lie and what's not a lie.
Hyma Moore, Lance Trover, always a pleasure. Thanks, Jensen.
Great to see you, Major.